Do you feel like you want to open up a little bit more to people, but you find it quite hard? Well, today I'm going to talk about this opening up as a man and mental health from my own experiences and challenges in this. If you stay until the very end, I have an extra point for you then that you want to stick around for. Now, I found that sometimes I've spoken to people and actually felt worse when I've opened up because, and it's no fault of their own, it's just who they are. We've all got different models of the world, and it's really important to, I find personally in my journey, to understand with a little bit of empathy and compassion that people have different models of the world. And most people, remember, people do care, but a lot of people are going to be thinking about their own problems and thinking you got the same view of the world as them, right? And I've been guilty of this, right? Because I feel like this, therefore you must feel like that. No, it doesn't work like that, right? And actually, I found when I've spoken to some people, it's made me feel worse. Now, it's not necessarily people's, like I say, people got their own things going on. And sometimes people are very open to talk to me, right? And I'm definitely encouraging opening up here. That's what I found really useful, but with the right people, because I think this point isn't emphasized enough for me personally in the mental health space, that if you share something with someone and it's rejected or they're not the right kind of person, it can actually be very damaging. Now, I definitely don't encourage to keep it all in 100%. So express it, movement, journaling, talking to yourself. I do that a lot. But talking to others you really, really trust. And that's what I really want to talk about today. Now, I found even some of my close mates, really good human beings, great human beings, even close family members, if I'm honest as well. Really amazing, loving human beings. I'm so grateful for them in my life. Yet they're not always educated or got the emotional capacity to necessarily hear and feel what I'm sharing with them. And we live in a society, you have to remember, which is distracted. So actually being very present with someone is a very difficult skill, because it's I'm talking, I'm on my phone, right? So, I make it a mission when I'm with someone to be really present with them. So sometimes we can share things with someone and it's just not received. I'll give an example. I shared with a close friend. I'm okay, I'm just quite personally, and I'm at a stage where I'm fine with being vulnerable, right? Showing things, but I know certain things now, very deep, that I will only share with a select bunch of people because I know they can hear me and appreciate me, right? And really hold that space. And I want to do that for other people as well. My coach is brilliant at this. That's why he's one of the great people in my life. He's really good at holding space and listening to me, not just on I heard the words you said and cognitively processed them and remembered them, but actually letting me express my emotions. And a lot of people aren't very good at that. You can hear someone and play back what they said to a good degree, which is what I've done many times, yet to really hear and feel someone in their presence is a very big skill. Now, I don't expect people to be experts, but there are certain people I know are just not listening. And there's a lot of non-verbal cues that I can sense. If someone's looking around, they're distracted, I know I'm not going to share something with them because they just don't have that presence. Someone who's got that eye contact, they're fully with me, and they've got that presence, I'm more willing to share something with them. Because it can feel like a rejection when you share something with someone who looks like their attention's gone. And again, it's no fault of that. Well, I suppose they could always work on it, but not everyone wants to work on their presence and their listening skills, right? And going back to the example of a close mate, I've had a mate and I'm look, this was very this happened, this was years ago, this happened, and I was talking about a dating relationship situation when it did something quite I had to be very vulnerable about happened in it. And he was said something, first of all, very reassuring. He was that's nothing to be, thank you for sharing with me, mate. There's nothing to be shameful about sharing that with me. And I appreciate that. But then he completely went on to talking about like him, and it's good in a way where you can, be vulnerable and share yourself, what you've gone through. But it was like looking for the solutions and just kind of completely dismissing and not allowing me to feel what I'd said. And again, he was just being he was trying to be a good friend. He's a good friend. But it was like he dismissed what I'd said, and a lot of people do that. I've had like people who love me very closely say things like, just look for a solution. Okay, we need to do this, this, and this. And it's actually, like I'm intelligent enough to find my own solution. But actually what I really need from you is just to hear me. I really need to hear your presence. And this is something I feel when speaking to other men, we need a lot more of. There's going to be people going to be able to provide this, but we really need to be heard. And often I get the impression when I'm like sharing things, people see me as, I achieve a lot of things. I run half marathons. I do a lot of football. I win awards at that. I do a lot of podcasting and create a lot of success in my life. But people, sometimes I have to express, look, I'm a little bit upset. And some people receive it really well, and I know who they are and I really trust them. Other people will be like, are you doing okay? And I appreciate them reaching out. And I'm like, yeah, it's a little bit difficult, but there's some things I'm working through. And then they'll just kind of ignore it and move on to something else. And that really, that can be really hurtful. And I'm a lot more sensitive than I think people realize. And this is just being very open and personable. So my main point here, and this is a long one, but I'm very passionate about this, is to find people who you really feel like you can trust and share yourself with, and not be rejected. They don't mean to reject you, but it can feel like a rejection when someone's not able to hold that amount of presence with you. Okay, so here are some points I just want to kind of summarize with. List what you want to share. So maybe you're like, okay, I'm really struggling with this issue. This is what I want to share, right? Maybe just write it down. The next thing is maybe write a list of people, or maybe even there's like some good helplines, Samaritans, or like all kind of organizations out there that you could share it with, right? People you really trust, or you feel like you could trust at least. And then a third one, reach out to someone you really trust, right? And just say, look, I'd really like to share some things with you, if that's okay. And then the fourth point I want to share is, if you don't feel comfortable sharing something with someone, even though they're being kind and they're like, look, you can talk to me, then you don't have to share it with them. You don't have to. Don't feel guilty about it, right? A lot of us feel guilty because we're upset someone. I realize the number one priority in my life is me, because I can't be there for my podcast listeners. I can't be there for other people in my life unless I look after me. And that starts with putting boundaries in for my own life. And it doesn't mean I have to be like horrible to anyone or anything. I just have to say what I'm feeling and what I want. And that's really important, because if you're not looking after you, how are you going to look after other people in your life, right? I've also got, like, I'll give another example. I've got a friend, and she was reaching out saying, I'm here to talk. But I know, like, this friend is a very positive, great person. But I also know that she'll just won't want to talk anything negative. So if I'm like, and there's a time and place for that, right? Right. If I'm in a business, if I got a business coach and I'm like, oh, I'm having all these emotional problems. No, that's not, they need to give me some strategy and move me forward. But there's other times when with certain coaches or certain people, I want to share my emotions, right? And this friend was like, look, we can have a chat. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. I just don't really want to share my challenges with you. I've got someone else to share with. But yeah, hope you're all good. And I appreciate you offering. That's all I said to her, right? She didn't take it personally. It's fine, right? So that's what I really want to share. And then the next thing is share or join like-minded communities, because when you're with a like-minded community, you don't feel so alone. You feel like you can share and connect with people a lot more. There's lots of online groups these days as well, which is amazing. But if you can do it in-person groups, that's even better. All right. So that's what I got for you today. I appreciate you for being here. You'll improve the other people's in your life by working yourself as a man. And remember to lead with your heart, not with fear.